welcome to Pedals and Stuff. So we recently did a video on the sounds that we can get out of the awesome Positive Grid Spark 40 amp. So if you want to hear how that amp sounds, do check out the other video. However, today we're really going to be focusing on the app that connects with the amplifier because it's an integral part of the unit. So first of all, we'll get this page here on our iPad and we have to hit the connect button to connect via Bluetooth to the unit itself. There is not at this moment in time one available for your computer. So for example, on my Mac, I can't get an app for that. And I find that a little bit disappointing because if I'm recording and I want to just adjust a setting, I don't really want to have my iPad out as well. I'd like to be able to just do it directly on my computer. But you know, small issues. Overall, it's a very powerful, very cool package. Right, so amp selections. Let's have a look at what we need to do here. Now, if we're on the amp selector here, we can easily just swap our amps out. We double tap on the amp icon at the top and we have our list of different amplifiers. As you can see, there are quite a few to choose from. So if I want to change it, again, I'll just click the AC boost there, and there we go. You can see it's changed at the top. The same is true for all of the other pedals. So the drives, just double tap the one that's actually in the line at the top, the mods, and so on. So very easy just to swap around your sounds. So let's have a quick look at them. Starts with a gate. No other options on this one. It's just a standard gate. Let's go on to the compressor. By the way, with the gate, some people have mentioned having a few issues with this one. I think it works pretty well. You just need to be careful setting up your threshold and your decay on it so it doesn't cut your notes out early. Right, the compressors, we got a few selections here. We've got 5 in total. Some very cool ones here, based on classics, of course. Onto the drive. Here we go, we've got booster, tube drives, overdrives, fuzzes, lots of options again there. The mod, again a few tremolos, phasers, flanges, chorus, all of the usual suspects in there too. The delays are cool on this actually, got a really good selection, digital delay, echo filter. Yeah, you know what they're based on, don't you? I think the graphics give all these away, to be honest with you. My favourites are the echo tape. I think the tape echoes in this are really quite cool. And then the reverbs as well. Plenty of options from studio style ones, chambers, halls, plates. My favourite are the plates, by the way. Oh, it's missing a no obvious spring reverb in there. That's surprising. Maybe I'm missing something, but yeah, I'm surprised there's no spring reverb for the offering there. Right, so if we wish to change it, again, as I said earlier, you just tap on one and you'll see it change at the top there. Okay, now one thing that's worth pointing out as well on this is if I move the volumes, for example, on the amplifier, you can see there it's moving on the amplifier in the app as well. However, if I do it the other way around, so if I change the volume on the app, as I'm doing now, you can see those numbers going up and down. The dials do not move on the amplifier, okay? They're not mechanical controls at all on the actual physical unit, so don't expect them to move around as you're changing settings on the app. All right? Okay. Worth mentioning, I think. Also, although we do have some very cool pedals available here, we can't adjust the routing on them. So I think it's a bit of a shame, for example, we can't have the delay before the drive because that can sound pretty cool. There's also really quite a limited number of pedals available. I'd like to see, for example, an Octaver in there, so an octave up or an octave down. I'd like to have an auto wire in there. I'd like just a bit more freedom with the routing, as well as having a few more options of pedals. But overall, you know, there's some really cool, useful sounds in here with these pedals. Right, so just sticking with the amps a second, the other thing we can do, which is really, really cool, is just go to the Tonecloud here and we can just download a plethora, just tons and tons and tons and tons of different settings. which are great starting points. You may not want to use them as they are, but they're great starting points. So say, for example, I want a classic Marshall, there we go. If I want to search by band type, there we go, Metallica ones here, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Hendrix sounds. So very easy to find what you're after. You can search, no problem whatsoever. So let's search for Van Halen. And there we go. Lots of options pop up there and we can try them out and decide which one we want to use. If you find a sound you like, whether you've adjusted it yourself or you downloaded from the Tonecloud, you can very simply use the app here to save that to your hardware. The app itself is just absolutely amazing. This is the function I love though, and that is the music section. So when you're learning, it's so important to be able to play along with music. Even when you're just practicing your scales, it's really important to get an idea of how they are going to sound. For example, mixed Lydian mode sounds quite different to a Lydian mode. So when you're practicing your scales, you need some context for those sounds. So it's great to use backing tracks at all points in your learning, not just to jam along with or to blaze away with or shred to. Really important. We've got just so many available, all these YouTube things just perfectly linked up. So say I want to do a fusion. I love playing along to some of this fusion stuff. So funky jazzy backing track, let's just click on that one and see what happens. And there we go, it's loaded up. You can hear that playing through the microphone, I'm sure. So what I think is fantastic about this is we've got all the pictures for the chords there. We can see the chord progressions, so we can, when we're playing along, we can really focus on nailing those chord tones. There's lots of really practical practice points that we can use using this app. I think it's absolutely killer. It's one of the main things for me. So when I start practicing, this is one of the reasons I use the Spark at the moment, is because of the app and this functionality. One thing I find a little bit frustrating about it is if I have my track on here and I go back because I want to adjust my settings, say I'm back on my tube drive here, you'll notice at the bottom here now I can't see the on-off button for that tube drive, right? And although you did, so I managed to turn it off there. When I went to turn it back on, it just clicked back onto my track. See, so it makes it very difficult sometimes to then adjust your settings, turning things back on or back off without having to close that off and then turn it back on and then go back into your tracks, find it again and start afresh. So I find that a little bit frustrating. So there's one or two small points of functionality which can be a little bit frustrating, as I said, but overall just an absolutely killer package, particularly I think being able to use this backing track music section along with your amplifier and practice. So simple, such a fantastic idea. Right, that's it. Just a quick video going over the basics of the app and how it ties in with the amplifier. I hope that's useful. Please remember to like and subscribe. As I said earlier, if you want to check out the tones available, then look at the video in the description there where I go through some of the main tones of this amplifier. All right, take care and see you soon.